You are about to embark on an amazing journey through the cosmos. You are about to listen to the absolute coolest podcast from coast to coast, north to south. Yes, you are listening here to the Cooley Cool Show. You're listening here live to this coolest of the cool, the Cooley Cool Show. Yes. You're listening here live on the coolest of the cool, the Cooley Cool Show on this Thursday night. Yes, we are the absolute coolest show around. We rock it from coast to coast, north to south, and yes, maybe even in Antarctica. Alright. Giggity, giggity. And if you're in Antarctica, let us know what you're thinking. Got a fun little podcast for you tonight. Gonna talk a little about some stuff that's maybe pondering your minds. So, if you haven't done so already, be sure to follow me and subscribe to my other social media platforms. You can follow me on my TikTok and YouTube account, both titled The Cooley Cool Show. You can also follow me on my Twitter account at CooleyCool2412. Also, be sure to follow me on my Instagram page at Brent_TheChamp. And if you happen to miss any of these wonderful episodes here on The Coolest of the Cool, you can also follow me also on Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. Yep, we're about to get started in just a couple of seconds here. Yeah, like I said, about to get started in a couple seconds. It's going to be a little bit fun one, fun, entertaining one. Supposedly, I guess. Yeah, rocking from coast to coast, north to south. And yes, maybe even in Antarctica. Now, you are about to embark on a journey of listening to the absolute coolest talk radio around the cosmos and all the way out to the observable universe. Yeah. And we're about to bring it to you live here on the coolest of the cool, the Cooley Cool Show. Now, without further ado, the man who definitely esteems himself with coolness all around, your host, none other than Brent. Thank you. Yes, your host Brent kicking here live on this Thursday night on the Coolest of the Cool, the Coolly Cool show. Um, yeah, thank you to all my listeners out there. All two, you guys are awesome. Yep, the topic of discussion is as titled "Money to Burn." Now, don't take that literally. I just made that the topic of discussion as far as we're talking about going on from what I have talked about in my other podcasts about America, the United States having an unlimited amount of money.
Billions and billions.
You heard it. Yeah, what is it?
Billions and billions.
Oh, man.
Probably trillions.
At this point, maybe, just maybe.
And I made a lot of money in Atlantic City, and I'm very proud of it.
Well, I guess you make a lot of money in Atlantic City by betting, spending billions and billions.
Billions and billions.
Maybe in what? Probably trillions?
Probably trillions.
Okay. All right. So, that's what the topic of discussion for tonight's episode is. We're going to talk a little bit about United States with money to burn. It seems like every time I talked about this before, it's always a money issue. The United States has tons of money for days, though they always try to talk about some type of budgeting issue, like the United States has to budget, but in reality, the United States doesn't need the budget. I mean, when you're a country that's bent off being the top dogs and making money work well for other countries, you have to kind of have a little chip on your shoulder. And when you have that little chip on your shoulder, trust me, that little chip on your shoulder goes ways. And it's a nice thing, nice cue. But I know many people always kind of wonder about, like, why are we talking about it? Because it plays into a lot of things, how the world moves and how the world goes. And especially when you start talking about a lot of deceptions, a lot of underlying issues, a lot of things that we're not being told, we're not being, made aware of. Trust me, it has a lot to do with it. And if you're not hip to it, this could probably affect you in some type of way. Like, obviously, tax season, tax time is upon us. But, many people always say, well, you got to pay your taxes. Yes, you do have to pay taxes. Paying your taxes goes a long ways with providing and establishing other things that help out our country. Every country around the world has their own form of, paying taxes in order to help the growth of their economy. Yeah. But in hindsight, what is the actual dollar amount of those taxes that you pay as a citizen go to other things? Other things that are on your knowledge, where it goes to where you might have a certain opinion, to where I don't want my tax dollars going to that particular thing, because one, you're not going to get the chance to utilize it. You're not going to get the chance to embark on it. And three, it's just something that maybe you don't find an interest in. So what's the deal? But then it's like, oh, well, we have to help it. It does this thing and everything. Oh, really? It does? Because apparently I'm not getting the membership. I'm not getting the memo. I'm not. Because I want to know whether or not whether or not that it's being spent in the right way and not living off feigned fantasies. And those feigned fantasies, is what sometimes many people, believe in or they go off by. And when they do go off by that, it's like, what the fuck, man? You know? Because they believe in a dream. And it's good to believe in a dream. It's good to have a dream. It's good to look for something in the near future or something that you're planning to accomplish or you want done. It is great to always have that thought process and the scene further down the line. It always is. But then sometimes when you start talking about certain dreams and accomplishments and things of that nature, sometimes are your dreams far fetched? Are they able to be accomplished by some way, shape, or form? Or are you believing in dreamland? And dreamland means when you go to sleep and you have imaginary dreams or dreams of that nature, and you can flying and doing all these superpower things in your dreams. Is that the dreams that you want to happen where you know they're not going to happen? It's a thing to think about. Because let's put it this way. Growing up, I remember watching like the Jetsons and a couple other these futuristic cartoons, and everybody would be like, "Oh wow, look at the Jetsons, man! They got flying cars, and they'd fly, and they go from place to place, and they were living in the sky, And it's like, hey, the Jetsons, and everybody would be like, man, it goes to the 2000s era, we're gonna have flying cars. None of that shit is here. None of those fucking flying cars is here. Alright? Let's get that shit straight. There's no fucking flying cars, and I highly doubt any of you people out there would even remotely want anybody flying a fucking car, considering the fact that there's so many people out there when they drive just like this. All for one and one for your goddamn selves. Yep. It's the honest truth. Maybe in other states, different types of states, it might be a little bit different as far as compared to people driving. They might be a little bit considerate as far as the driving ways. But in some other states, it's called fend for yourself. It's called I'm getting the fuck out. You're not. So fuck you. Like, literally, flying cars, really? Think about it. We have a lot of people are, Star Wars fans who love the movie Star Wars. I like Star Wars. I love it. A lot of people want to have the Force or be a Jedi or be a Sith Lord. Have the power of the Force. Be fighting people with some, lightsabers. Yeah. People try to duplicate the power sources in it. Because they're pitching a dream. They think they can do that. They have conventions where people live out their fantasies in this. But then afterwards, after the convention's over, then they go back to their regular selves. Whatever that may be. But people live in these fantasy worlds of far-fetched ideas and far-fetched dreams. Things of that nature to where it's never going to be happening in our lifetimes. It's just, if the way things are, look at it back 50, 60 years ago, they were dreaming about the same stuff. And people are probably saying, oh, talking a phone without having some type of cord connected. That was a feigned fantasy. But at least that was kind of somewhat of accomplishable. Now, when you start talking about flying cars flying in the air, things like that, now you're pitching a sales pitch that, hey, I don't know. So, it's something that seems to be, let's get a little bit dabble into the realm of reality on certain things that might not be able to, let's just say, like I said before at the beginning of this, a little bit accomplishable. Um, I don't know. It's just one of those things that tend to uh, too many people are living on a pipe dream, and that pipe dream is probably getting a lot of people in trouble because they can't separate, reality from fantasy. And when we're talking about this, people say, "Well, what's the main issue got to be?" Well, because people will invest tons and tons of money in a pipe dream, not a reality, because the pipe dream is the fantasy. It's not the real world. It's not the realism. It is a fucking fantasy. And they know that deep down inside, they'll never see any of these come to fruition. But they try to believe that by stamping some type of hallmark on it, that they'll maybe have contributed to, the advancement of the human species. Is that true? Maybe, yeah, maybe not. Could be. But then again, still have to dabble in the land of reality a little bit. So, as I said, it's fueled by a lot of investing in a lot of things that, frankly, is not really going to much happen. I mean, this is on the long spectrum of space program. I said before a lot of the stuff that's going on, and if you notice when I talk about the balloon situation, people starting to see UFOs on a daily occurrence, things of that nature. And I said, yeah, there's a main objective, and this is what I think is because not enough people are investing into space programs anymore. They're not doing it. And the reason why, because interest is lacked, because people are starting to figure, like, well, why are we trying to go way over here when considering the fact that if we try to go here, we'll never get there in the amount of time? What's the sense of trying to travel billions and gazillions of light years to another so-called Earth planet when we'll never get there? And because as scientists and astronomers have said to us, and they said that the Earth and our here, put this way, the universe, along with the solar system, is ever expanding. Because when the Big Bang happened, which out of nothing, all of a sudden there was a huge explosion out of nothing. Now the universe began to expand all and everywhere directions. So in doing so, our own solar system is expanding, and as we're expanding, we're flying through fucking space and time and all that fucking malarkey. So as we are expanding in space, if we were to travel from right now to the closest nearest star with a suspected life on a planet of theirs, we will never reach it at any point in time. I mean, they're literally saying like 1,000,000,000 light years. Okay, so it's never going to be, never going to get a chance to fucking make it. Because we're constantly expanding. That should tell you that what's the fucking point in investing in trying to travel the cosmos when considering the fact that you're never going to fucking reach it. Like, they're like, well, we want to know if there's other alien life forms on the other side of the observable universe as far as we can see. What's the fucking point of looking way the far out at the other side of the fucking universe when technically what you're telling us is that we look into deep space to the other side as far as we can see, the observable universes, which we can see, and you're saying, yeah, there's stuff out there, but guess what? We're looking deep that far, but we'll never be able to truly understand it because as far as we know, when we're looking at stars, we're looking at the past. We're not looking at the current. We're not looking at the future. We're looking at the past. Because by the time you were to get there, that whole star system or whatever, solar system, whatever they have out there, is probably could be possibly gone because of the amount of distance having to travel to get there, which is what they say in physics. That is relativity. Yes, it is. Ladies and gentlemen, that is relativity. That is 101 physics with my scholared ass, you know. Yeah, but we'll wrap back around to what I said is that people will invest heavily into funding certain projects, which will cost billions and trillions and gazillions of money each and every fucking year to do what? To live in a famed fantasy. But the idea still looms in our brain that maybe we can get to there. Maybe we will get there. I mean, aliens exist, right? Aliens fucking exist. They're able to harness the energy from fucking stars and suns and travel here to Earth because they want to do experimentation. That's why they abduct people. You know, they abduct intelligent people, not stupid people. They abduct intelligent, smart people with great reputations, possibly a lot of money on them because they're probably stealing their fucking checkbooks, you know, because aliens need cash. So they get the rich, the people, and they abduct them, and then they do some experimentation up in the mothership. So, you know, it's always that, you know, facet. So, you know, there's money issues with that, right? Aliens don't want to abduct broke people. What are they gaining from that? Nothing. Apparently, that's from alien standpoint, which would make me think that ain't no alien. That's a damn human doing stupid shit like that. What the fuck? But just to put it to you on a little bit of what I was doing, I was reading a couple of things, articles, and some of these articles are dated for back. Now, granted, some of these articles are about 3 years, 2 years old. So imagine the figures, the numbers have probably doubled or maybe quadrupled considering 2020. So look at this. So this is one article I read, and it said, like, I forget where I got this from. It's I'm getting angry. Just read this for a minute. It says U.S. government admits funding secret UFO. Oh my goodness. All right. Department of Defense confirms it spent $22 million a year. $22 million a year from 2007 to 2012 to investigate unidentified flying objects. So they're investing that amount of money from 2007 to 2012. Unfucking real. Are you kidding me? Alright, so I'm going to do the math on this just to make sure this is right and not wrong, because I don't want to be wrong. So, am I doing my math right? That's $22 million from this. What they said, $22 million from 2007 to 2012. So I'm doing my math, making sure it's right, checking it twice, making it right. Gonna find out who's naughty or nice. Santa's coming. All right, so technically, for that amount of time, it's about 6 years roughly. That's about $132 million that the Department of Defense spent over that time period. $132 million. Now, where would they get that money from? Obviously, the people of the United States. You think private industry? No, they probably gave a portion of it because they were still in delusional land, thinking that, yeah, they're going to find out about some fucking aliens. You know? Yeah, I mean, this is just complete fucking bogusness. And in a quote here in this article, it said, "We don't know the answers, but we have plenty of evidence to support asking the questions. This is about space and national security." So it was about doing scientific research while also, beefing up national security and trying to figure, whether they're a threat to us. And that's what I'm getting. So what in the hell would you need to have spent $132 million? Because obviously $132 million has to go to planning, research, obviously people up in, the Washington pocketing the money also. for their own personal thing, and then maybe paying out their workers, considering they're like, wait a minute, they're getting paid federally, so blah blah blah. That's a lot of fucking money that's going out to what again? But this is where I always talk about the United States has an unlimited amount of fucking money. Literally do. Literally do. The United States does. Come on, we all know this. We all understand this. I hope we understand it. And I mean, just just think about this for a minute. Okay, just put it in perspective. I'll put it this way. What if, and this is a big what if, that let's just put it as a big what if. I'm trying to gather myself. So put it this way. As we here in the United States, if you follow the history, there was about the Great Gold Rush that happened during the 1800s. I forgot what year period, where out west, a lot of people began to move out west because there's a couple settlers that ended up discovering gold and then making money off it. So then you had a lot of people moving out west to, hey, I want to make money. I want to find this gold, shiny fucking rock that people place value on and to live the American dream by being rich and having tons and tons of money. So, but during that time period, not many people from other than the first settlers or the first people that end up finding, you know, gold out there really made out while everybody else continues to kind of keep looking for it, but never actually came in contact with getting any gold or making money from it. Which is pretty sad because there's a lot of people during that time period that went out Midwest, relocated. Maybe it was just to fuel the population on there to drive out the Indians. Could it be? Could it be a ploy, a tactic, a technique? Yeah, could have. Get more people out there thinking that they're gonna strike it rich by finding gold, but what he ended up doing was really trying to get rid of a certain indigenous people off their land by flooding it with what? Other people, other settlers here. So that way the population increases with the settlers and now the indigenous population decreases. Is there really money involved? Don't know. Not sure. But mission accomplished by doing what you set out to do, which was pretty much overpopulate with the new uh, people or into that area, which now you have strengthened numbers, and now the indigenous population is dwindled down. Could be, don't know, but sounds pretty. I mean, underlining possibility. He said there's other things to kind of think about this. Now, I don't know as far as the money aspect of talking it, but kind of helped, right? A little bit, maybe. But in another article I did read, it said NASA. This is an old one from about 2-3 years ago. NASA is under presidential orders. And we're talking about Mars landing, getting to Mars. NASA is under presidential orders to land humans on Mars by 2033, although later years like 2035 or even late 2030s seems as more realistic approach. NASA's funded engineers are studying a way to build potential human habitats there by producing bricks from pressurized Martian soil. Why don't they go ahead and figure out how to eat fucking grow potatoes like that movie the Martian with Matt Damon? How they go to do that? Eat potatoes for like 8 fucking months or something like that. I don't know. 2033. Although later years like 2035 or even late 2030s. Now, what says they're not going to push this back? I mean, think about the funding that it would take to do this, and I'm going to break some of the estimated costs that they have written onto this here. These are the cost of NASA's Phoenix mission to go to Mars, to get humans on Mars. The development, just the development, is $321.2 million. That's just the development of coming up with a plan, a way of trying to get there. And then you have launch services, $86.2 million. Then you have, if you're getting closer, the prime mission operation, which they're trying to, what the article says, for within 5 months to sustain, the habitability to live on Mars from all the operational stuff is an estimate of $12.6 million. Now, in the grand scheme of it all, total cost, it's not that much it's only $420 million. Yeah, $420 million. No problem. No problem. Just put it in my expense account. It's all good. Gotcha. It's a lot of fucking money for something that's supposedly supposed to happen in the 2030s, if that. Or they'll just push it back later on and says, damn it, we passed the deadline. We need some more money in order to make, a new deadline. Because we figured we didn't have the stuff. We kind of went over budget. And then what happens? What happens with the programs? They say, oh, well, we already invested this amount of money into this bullshit. We have to give them some more money. Where are we getting it from? Don't know. Well, how are we getting it? Because people not looking too highly into space because it's not really worth it, is it? No, don't know what to tell you. But it's a huge money issue and a huge money problem. And like I said, it's kind of funny. Past week and a half, closer to, everybody was talking hot and heavy about fucking the Chinese balloon, the surveillance balloon that talk about, some unidentified aircrafts were spotted over the United States, Canada, and the U.S. shot down 3 of them or 4 of them or whatever. And UFO talks and starts to get the buzz, and you start social media. People say, UFOs, this and that. And I'm telling you, what ends up happening is we don't know what it is, but then they start going to say, but it's UFOs, UABs, UAPs, whatever the fuck. And then now people are starting to start thinking, well, we need to invest in Space Force, space programs. This is where it's at. This is where our dreams are going to fly high. Yes, we're going to make a difference in space, damn it. Really? Let me just break down another cost of the explorations of the rovers on Mars. So the cost of NASA's Mars exploration rovers. So spacecraft development and launch, they put it together, make it feel a little bit better. And an estimate cost of it, the spacecraft's development and launch, the Delta II, at an estimate cost of $744 million. Yes, $744 million. It's chump change. Don't worry about that. Say, hey, nothing. The mission operations for 15 years, because we wanted to be up there for quite some time, because we want to be able to collect great and good data that it approximately takes about 20 minutes or so to receive signal back from the Mars rover back to here on Earth. Though I've heard maybe it might take about 8 minutes or so now with advanced technology that we so-called claim to have. But the mission operation, 15 years, is looking at what they said is an estimate of $335.8 million. Chump change. Don't worry. That's like a penny. That ain't nothing to worry about, baby. So, in altogether, grand scheme total of scheming, total cost is about $1.08 billion. Not feeling the pinch, but I'm thinking I might want to find a budget of just a tad bit, maybe get a discount, see, things go down a little bit, but, maybe we got some coupons or anything like that. We could probably, help, get this cost back down just roughly a little bit. So you see what I'm talking about as far as some of this shit? as far as money to burn, because apparently these space programs and the countries that are in it, because they're all on, they're every country's all in it. Okay, they're all in it, and they understand how much money they can make with the whole space programs and things of that nature. And trust me, it seems as though, like the title of this episode, they seem like they got money to burn. Like literally, money to fucking burn. And when it comes to the United States, and as far as the head honchos of tons of money to, just do whatever, I mean, where, like I said, I've said before, the United States of America is a fucking business. We're a fucking good business. A really lucrative business. To get, you want to get paid, trust me, the United States is where it's at. You don't want to get paid, well, you can get the fuck on, because we're in the business of making fucking money. Mm. And the one best way about making money is all about being deceptive and devious in our ways of making money. And with the space programs and things of that nature, is a way to make money. I mean, like to see, these numbers and figures are completely outrageous. I mean, you kind of figure at this point in time, maybe, when they were talking about, hey, do we want to have another Apollo mission go to the moon? And they kind of look around at the numbers like, this shit is a lot of money. There's like, do I really want to put a lot of money, effort into utilizing this? I mean, it's a lot of fucking money. I mean, back then they said we went to the fucking moon like several times, but then, people said it was the funding. Well, if it was the funding, I mean, that's extremely a lot of money. We're not these numbers, but the numbers they had back then were probably extremely high. They were like, I don't know about this, dude. I mean, could we, maybe, just saying, maybe, go into a studio and maybe make some shit up. Just say. We'll get there. We'll get there eventually. Maybe the first two missions, they're good, but then we'll reassess and then we'll find out later on, yeah, we can't really do that again because it's a lot of money and I don't think the American people, but we got an unlimited amount of money. Yeah, but we got other shit we got to pay for. I mean, for defense, things and that things. I mean, we got to do unlimited, but we can't make it seem as though we have tons of money. It's like the person that's secretly rich and they go into a store wearing, jeans, ball cap, whatever, totally unnoticeable, and they're the richest person in the fucking room. But you would look at somebody who says, well, I'm scholarly. I've got a amazing suit that I got from J.C. Penney's, and I'm looking fantastic. Yes, indeedy. The motherfuckers might be the brokest motherfuckers in the room. That's why I said the title of this is Money to Burn, because the United States has plenty of money to burn. There's a lot of things. I mean, if you start to really figure out how a lot of this shit is like really done, and you just take it for not what it is, but if you actually listen and you listen to the amount of bullshit they try to deceive you on, it's really not that hard to figure out the shit that they do. And they actually tell you up front, but it's that they're good talkers. They're able to influence you, to sway you. I mean, how many times have you, so it's like kind of like a funny trend, a funny joke to think about it. Think about it as like this. A preacher, a sermon, he's like, oh, wow, you better be understanding, because if not, you're going to hell, and you better go ahead. When that collection plate comes to you, you better put $1 or $2 in there, maybe 5 or 10 if you want to, maybe a 20 twin might do a little better. But if you don't put nothing in there, you're going to hell, and you'll be damned and if damned. And trust me, the collection plate come around, you don't want to look like the cheap motherfucker that's sitting there and be like, well, and then pass it right across to the next person. No, you're gonna go ahead and put it in there because you don't want to feel kind of left out, or you don't want to be looked as, oh, you're wrong, buddy, you're wrong. So, listen to this thing right here real quick. So, yeah. Gonna listen to this here for a second. This is a scene. Awesome quote.
Feel better? No. There's only 30 in there. 3 guys. Yeah, I had to ask them if I should pay for the kid. But they said I should.
They were right, too. That's only 10 apiece.
Correct.
The price is 15.
Dylan charges 10. Recession prices. They told me to tell you that, too.
You made a deal with Mickey for 15.
Yeah. But the way they got it, Mickey got a fight with a whore, the dumb shit, and now they got him in a can, and you're filling in for Dylan, and you get what Dylan gets. No more. Talk to Dylan. Take it up with him.
Dylan's dead. Dylan died this morning.
I'll be very sorry to hear that.
Sure they are. It's gonna cost them more.
You know, this business is a business of relationships.
Yeah, and everyone loved Marky.
You are a cynical bastard, you know.
To reclaim the American dream and reaffirm that fundamental truth that out of many we are one.
You hear that line? Line's for you.
Don't make me laugh.
For one people.
It's a myth created by Thomas Jefferson.
Oh, now you're gonna have a go at Jefferson, huh?
My friend Jefferson's an American saint because he wrote the words all men are created equal. Words he clearly didn't believe since he allowed his own children to live in slavery. He was a rich wine snob who was sick of paying taxes to the Brits. So yeah, he wrote some lovely words and aroused the rabble, and they went out and died for those words. While he sat back and drank his wine and fucked his slave girl. This guy wants to tell me we're living in a community. Don't make me laugh. I'm living in America, and in America you're on your own. America's not a country. It's just a business. Now fucking pay me.
The best thing.
Oh, that's a fun line from Brad Pitt in the movie Killing Me Softly. I love it. But it's the fucking truth. America's not a country. It's a fucking business. No fucking pay me. Alright, so we came to another end of another wonderful episode here on the Coolest of the Cool, the Coolly Cool Show with your host, Brent. So be sure to follow us on our other social media platforms. Be sure to follow in my TikTok and YouTube channel, both labeled The Coolly Cool Show. You can also follow me on Twitter account at CoollyCool2412. You can also follow me in my Instagram page, Brent_the_champ. If you missed to hear any of these parts of this episode and you want to pick it back up again, we're on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Podcast, and Spreaker.com, both labeled The Coolly Cool Show. So, as always, we're rocking from coast to coast, north to south, and yes, maybe even in Antarctica. So, other than that, you listen here live on the Coolest of the Cool, the Coolly Cool Show with your host, Brent. Take care, and goodbye.